Hello, and welcome to this part of the marathon, where it's the bullfrog and the one, the only, Newt.
Face reveal at 100,000 subscribers.
We want the subscribers, and you want to see that face. And if you are part of the awesome, the amazing, the indomitable levels of cool, that is our subscribers, who are members of the pond, you may notice something. I said marathon. Of course, if you've been here for the whole week, muchas gracias. But if you just hopped on and decided to watch right now, still, muchas gracias. Marathon. We are celebrating Thanksgiving. Each day to Thanksgiving itself, we are doing a recommendation list and a review at the end. And this movie is one of the biggest ones. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington. Frank Capra's hidden gem and Jimmy Stewart at his best. Yeah, I said that. And for those of you who are going, it's a black and white. They're all nothing but innocent and such. Yes, you're right. And no, you are way off. And this movie is the proof. And for that, we gotta hop right in. This is a movie how an innocent man is gonna get burned. And how he's gonna survive through burns, charcoals, and people with sharp knives, hoping that he would be the next victim of the failures. What happens? Well, the movie begins with a death, a senator's death, and the governor of this state has to make a choice who to replace him until the next election comes. His son made a strange recommendation. His camp counselor. What?
Really?
This is a government seat, a seat of power. And you're recommending your camp counselor? Boy, what's wrong with you? Actually, the more I think about it, it's perfect. The guy is completely innocent. He knows nothing. And with him completely blind, knowing nothing, we can do a whole lot more. And none will be the wiser. It's perfect. So it happens. And look, this is a Frank Capra movie. And when you order at Frank Capra's shop, there are some things that are staples with Frank Capra. There's something weird with my burritos. There is a ton of cheese. I mean, there's like 14 layers within 5 seconds. What is going on with my burrito that I ordered? Well, sir, this is the Frank Capra restaurant. So it's a staple of us to have extraordinary amounts of cheese at the beginning of your meal. But don't worry, once you get to the center and the end, you are going to taste so much, it's going to blow your mind. It's going to be delicious. It's just the beginning always has heavy amounts of cheese. Heavy amounts? Very heavy amounts. But this is going to turn out good in the end. Like, I'm talking steak. I'm talking, enchilada sauce and a lot of flavors and a ton that's going to knock me off my socks. I'm hoping for that in this burrito. Are you going to deliver? Yes, we normally will. But with this order that you just got, you're going to be knocked down dead at the end of it because it's going to hit you that hard. That's a tall order, and it's going to be worth every single penny. And I mean it's going to get good. Because when Mr. Smith and his pure innocence and his love of Americana so much you think he's going to sing, when he's in Washington, he's like a little kid in a candy shop. It's awe, it's wonder. This is a child innocence seeing the grandeur that he's always built himself to see. And it leads to an ugly cost he experiences the reporters. Our Boy Scout got burned. But with that damage, with that scar, he says, "You think you tore me down? I've been through worse. I know how to make fires, and I know what happens when they get too much. I bring it down and build another fire." And so that's what I'm going to do. During the Senate, I'm going to come up with a plan. A plan where little boys across this nation are going to be Boy Scouts. And I am going to build a spot meant for them and for them. And they're going to learn, they're going to grow, and through this, they're going to become men.
From men into gladiators, and from gladiators into Swansons.
And this is going to be perfect, and I know the spot. It's a beautiful valley. Hear me at my eloquent poetry about this spot. And that spot is in reserve for the other senator and his lobbyists giving him money. That's the line we were doing for our plan. Oh crap, that governor screwed us over. We're getting Joe Schmo. No, we got ourselves a gallant knight. We gotta burn him.
And lots of it.
Oh, that's your cure for everything.
And this is just the vague beginning. Black and white movies, you may say, don't talk right, and they're not as well written as they are today. Normally I would say you're right, but this Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is different. Mr. Smith is meant to be a representative of American innocence and American pride. When he's going up to Washington, don't look at him as an average schmo. This is American innocence talking in poetry and rhyme to the corruption around him. You may corrupt, you may destroy, but I still see the symbols of what the past represents. I see what I stand for, and that is to preserve the innocence and the strength and the history of America, warts and all. And I am going to do my best to stand up and prove what I mean. That's what his words are. So don't think of this as, no one doesn't sound like this. No, he's the symbol of that voice. And those things are poetry of what he's trying to preach and what he's trying to, well, remind the swamp of what they are. But the swamp is treating him like Caesar. And it's time to give him the Caesar treatment. Mr. Smith Goes to Washington is a movie I highly recommend, and it's perfect for Thanksgiving. And with movies like movies, as much as this is a movie recommendation, it's also a movie review. And how would I judge and rate Mr. Smith Goes to Washington? It's a 7 out of 7. Jimmy Stewart is at his best and performing and doing his best to be that symbol at the very end. And Frank Capra is all about showing off that symbolism. He paid a great price for this film. Because later on, after this movie was made, the American government was starting to go against the communists in Hollywood. Frank Capra was investigated in that because of this movie.
Really?
And Jimmy Stewart got robbed in the corruption of Hollywood at that time. Gone with the Wind, the first movie we recommended for Thanksgiving a few years ago, got the Academy Award for Best Actor, when everyone knew that was meant for Jimmy Stewart.
Because of just one plain simple rule. Love thy neighbor. And in this world today full of hatred, a man who knows that one rule has a great trust. You know that rule, Mr. Payne.
So when it says Academy Award winner Jimmy Stewart, that award was for a different movie, but everyone agreed that award was really meant for this snub. And don't snub this film. It's perfect for Thanksgiving. Until that time comes, this is the Bullfrog and the Newt signing out. Gobble, gobble.
Oh, bye-bye.
So did every other man who ever tried to lift his thought up off the ground. Odds against him didn't stop those men. They were fools that way. All the good that ever came into this world came from fools with faith like that. You know that, Jeff.